What's up, Mostly Bot? This is John here. We're gonna talk about some mic placement today. Okay? So there are a lot of ways to go about it. We're approaching it from a recording BOP high tuned for jazz drums. Okay? So first most important thing is that you can have 1,000 mics, or you can have one mic, and there are a lot of ways to do that. Today we got 4. Let's talk about the mics we're going to use today. First off, for snare, we have the tried and true classic SM57. If you record drums anywhere, you will see one of these. They just work. Very nice, focused mid-range sound. Next up, for overheads, we have AKG C214s. We have the -20 decibel switch on just to get it a little quieter so we're not pushing our interface too hard. We have the high pass switch off here, which allows us to get some of the bass drum and the low end of everything. There's even low end in your cymbals. It allows us to get all of that so you get to hear a more true picture to what's really going on in the room. And then lastly, we have the AKG D12 VR here. There's lots of crazy settings on this thing. Mikailo, would you tell us a little more about this mic? What do we have going on?
Yeah, it's got both passive and active, so you can turn on phantom
active.
power. And
Phantom power.
yeah, if you look at like so you've got these 3 filters basically you put on. If you use this side, it's going to be passive. You turn on phantom, then you can have this. You can like EQ it a little bit.
So you're telling me that you can use the different sides of the mic to pick up different sounds?
That's crazy.
That is crazy. You heard it here, folks. Try out the AKG D12 VR today. It's not even extremely expensive.
And for the record, we got these 2 at a pawn shop for like $200 each. So
check your local pawn shops, people. Your most important mics for capturing a nice full drum sound are your overheads. And there are a lot of ways to do and to place the overheads. Something I really like to do is to make sure that they're both equidistant from the snare. So what that means is I take a cable. Mikailo, would you hand me any sort of cable, please? Any sort of cable will do. When you're measuring your overhead distance from your snare, thank you very much. You can get a mic cable, and what I do is I go over to my snare here, place some of the cable on, and then I just measure to make sure they're both about the C. They're not quite, but guess what? Nobody cares, nobody asks, nobody's checking, and that will get you a good sound because your snare is kind of like the main thing, and you want that sounding nice. It'll get phasey, and it'll sound real weird if they're in like crazy spots, and people say, John, this one's higher than the other one. Guess what? Again, nobody asks, no one cares. Your cymbals are different heights, your drums are different heights. It doesn't matter. What you want is some equidistant from the snare, and since this one is close to the snare, we're going to lower this one, okay? Another really important thing is to get your overhead heights right for your room. We're going to demo a couple different overhead heights for you so that you can hear the difference in how they sound and what they're going to do. We have a nice medium-sized room here with some treatment, and let's check it out. Let's see what's up. Let's see how they're sounding. So our overheads, the placement determines how much room sound we have, how much echo from the sound of the drum hitting the wall and coming back to the mic determines how fast it's going to do that. If you have real low down to the drum, you're not going to get a lot of that. If you have them real up high, you're going to get a lot of room sound, a lot of echo, a lot of natural reverb, if you want to think about it that way. Just like a close mic, you clip it onto your tom, clip it onto a snare, that's going to have like nothing. It's right there. But that's not how your ears pick up the sound of the mics. Your ears sit back there. So if you want to hear it, how you sound, how it would sound if you're playing, you would put a mic right where your head would go, and that would be the closest thing to what you hear naturally. You'd never play a drum while you're listening like this. The same way we like to use different mic positions to pick up different sounds. So here are a couple of those different sounds. So first off here, we have our overheads positioned real low. They're about, look at that, they're about 2 drumsticks height away from the snare. Let's check that out and see how they sound. Next up, we got medium height. This is what I consider medium height. It's about, look at that, 2.5 drumsticks away from the snare. Cool, it's very scientific over here at Mostly Bop. This is around where I normally keep mine for a good, like, you'll hear. Here we go. Awesome. Okay, lastly, we got a pretty high set here. They're about just as high as the mic stands can go. We're about, it's about 3 drumsticks away, okay? So let's check out how this sounds. Next off, we have the snare mic. This is a snare mic. Snare mic position, just a centimeter of movement can have a huge impact on your snare drum's tone. And again, remember, we never listen to drums right here, and that's what the mic is picking up. So you got to really think about that when you're placing your snare mic. And what we have is, how I think about it is you got 2 factors. How far or close it is over the drum head itself. You know, some people place it way out here, some people place it way in here. And that's gonna affect how much low end you got out of your drum. If you have it way out here, it's gonna be a really crispy, airy sound with a little bit more time from drum hit to mic. If you place it right here, you're gonna get some very beefy snare tones, okay? That's the first factor, how close it is in or out. The second factor is what kind of angles you got going on. So a lot of people will mic it like this, you know, pointed right down at the, you know, at the edge of the head. A lot of people will point it real flat, you know, just facing the middle of the snare drum where we hit. And that also has a huge impact on your snare tone. Most of the time I go for something a little in between with a little angle and kind of just over the rim of the snare drum, and that kind of gets me something that's a little bit of everything. But we'll try some different stuff out, and you can decide what you like for yourself. Okay, first up we got very angled and very far in towards the center of the drum. One thing to think about when you are putting your snare mic closer to the center of the drum, you don't want to hit it. If you got an SM57 like this, they can kind of take a beating and you're not going to break the mic, but you might be working with a little condenser or something. You don't want crazy animal drummer to be hitting that mic. It'd be bad. Don't do that. Cool. Next up, we got still very angled, but now it's moved way away from the center and it's right over the rim of the drum. Check it out. Damn, I'm not locked in today. Okay. Next up, we have now a very flat angle, but we're back to being placed very far in towards the center of the drum. Next up, we have still a very flat angle, but now we're out even over past the rim of the drum, right about, almost just on top of it, a little past it. Check it out. We have bass drum mic position. Bass drum mic position can really alter the sound of your bass drum. Most of the time, I go for right in between the edge, the rim, the hoop of the drum, and the middle. I find a sweet spot right in the middle of there, and that kind of works for me. Some people might get right in the center of the bass drum. I don't like that, but you'll see, and you can decide for yourself what you think. Thanks. A lot of these changes might seem kind of subtle. You might not even be able to hear some of them, especially if you're not listening on headphones. You should be listening on headphones. But really, it's just like all the rest of the factors that you have to consider, whether it's drum head choice, drum choice, cymbal choice, where everything is positioned, the room you're in. It's another one of those that all the little factors all add up, and they can completely change your drum tone completely. And so we really hope this helps. We hope this makes it easier for you to get the desired drum tone that you're looking for. And have fun. Try some of these out. If you have some mics, if you don't, borrow some. If you don't, go find some. It's good to know. It's good info, and you're gonna run into it if you keep playing the drums and you play it alive or a recorded environment. It's really important. And sometimes sound guys do not know what's up, so you have to watch out for you and make sure that you're in the know, because if you're not, man, I don't know what to tell you. But thank you for watching. This is nice. Thank you for watching. Please tune in again to please tune back in soon to Mostly Bop Drums.